Good day, everyone. My name is Xavier Pouliquin. I'm business developer at Source of Asia, and we are based in Ho Chi Minh City. Thank you for joining us today to explore the landscape of renewable energy in Vietnam, the significant challenges ahead, and the promising opportunities for your activity in renewable energy in Vietnam, following the Power Development Plan number 8 approved in May 2023 with a 2030 objective and a vision for 2050. Renewable energy plays a pivotal role in Vietnam's pursuit of economic and environmental sustainability. With a rapidly growing population and expanding industrial sector, Vietnam faces an increasing demand in energy, as, for example, evidenced by the recent electricity blackouts in the country. Today, Vietnam uses four main sources of renewable energy. They are hydroelectricity, wind power, solar power, and biomass. To give you some figures, 77 gigawatt was produced at the end of 2021. Out of this, wind and solar energy made up 27% of capacity. Vietnam is placed among the countries with the fastest clean energy transition rate. In 2021, renewable energy contributes over 3 billion kilowatt hours per month. It represents 10% of the country's capacity and 6% of the national commercial output. Vietnam is at the second place in the ASEAN region and the 23rd in the world. Vietnam currently has the most comprehensive installed solar power capacity in Southeast Asia. In 2020, 17 gigawatts of solar energy was generated. Vietnam's solar energy production expanding from 0 to 11% in just 4 years, turning the country into the 10th solar power generator in the world in 2021. Vietnam has some of the largest onshore and offshore wind energy resources in the region. The country has a long and narrow geographical shape consisting of a long coastline that represents more than 3.2 thousand kilometers and more than 8.5 of country's land area are suitable for large wind farms. Today, the Vietnamese government has announced at the COP26 that their objective is to become a carbon neutral country by 2050. To achieve it, the government has set targets to raise electricity output generated from renewable sources, aiming for approximately 200,000 gigawatts by 2030. A successful renewable-led pathway includes building out the country's wind and solar generation capabilities. 28 gigawatt and 61 gigawatts by 2030 respectively for wind and solar generation. This would require significant investments in grid infrastructure, policy support, and market reforms. Vietnam also plans on 22 gigawatt produced by onshore wind and 6 gigawatt by offshore wind by 2030. The country has great ambitions for offshore wind and want to drastically increase the installed capacity to reach more than 70 gigawatt by 2050, the final objective. I will now give the floor to Mrs. Valentine Bénard, Asian Pacific Development Manager at Akrocean. Having their activities growing in the Asian Pacific region, Akrocean has been working with Source of Asia for several years to explore opportunities for development on the Vietnamese market. Valentine is based in Ho Chi Minh City, and we share their reflection and strategy.
Thank you, Xavier, for having me to talk about Akrocean today. So Akrocean, it's a French service company providing offshore in situ wind, metocean, and environmental data by means of floating LiDAR for site resource assessment. Basically, project developers like Copenhagen Offshore Partners, EDF, or Ørsted use our services at development stage of their offshore wind project. We collect in situ ocean data when there is still no turbines at sea, and our clients use our data to assess their site's potential and therefore take financial and technical decisions. Akrocean can offer floating LiDAR deployments anywhere in the world with the support of our worldwide network of commercial and logistical partners. We have many references in Europe and in the Asia Pacific region, where we have notably deployed these past few years in South Korea, in Taiwan, in Australia, and more recently in New Zealand. And therefore, to support this growth and develop our activities in this region, we have opened a little more than 1 year ago now a business representative office here in Ho Chi Minh City. So you may wonder why Vietnam. Among many aspects, here are some. So first, we have chosen to establish in Vietnam to accompany the domestic emerging market itself toward floating LiDAR deployments. As Xavier explained, the country has great potential and ambition for offshore wind energy, and therefore an important need for ocean data. Also, Vietnam doesn't have yet any offshore wind project far from the coast, but it is planned. And entering this market at early stage allowed us to understand deeper the specific characteristics of the market, the country's opportunity, and also the constraints, for example, legislative and logisticals. Finally, Vietnam is also a strategic positioning in Asia for our global services network, already ensured by local partners that we have in the countries, but reinforced by permanent presence of Akrocean. Its geographical location in the Earth of Asia allow us to cover the whole region while remaining connected at European hours. So, as I said, there are many aspects we took into account when choosing Vietnam. Throughout this development process, we have been supported by Source of Asia to establish in the country. We currently have one business manager and one project manager based here in Ho Chi Minh City, and we are currently expanding the team and hope to continue growing in Vietnam in the future. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for everyone. Thank you everyone for listening. Xavier, I will pass the floor back to you.
Thank you, Valentine, for sharing your experience. Vietnam is really keen to attract companies like Akrocean to develop in the country. To that end, it has established a comprehensive policy and regulatory framework to attract foreign investors in the renewable energy sector. In addition, the government also offers tax incentives, including import tax exemption and reduction for renewable energy projects. Foreign investors in renewable energy projects can benefit from various investments and financing mechanisms in Vietnam. The Vietnam Development Bank provides state investment loans for building power plants using renewable energy resources, allowing investors to borrow up to 70% of the total investment capital with a maximum loan term of 15 years. Furthermore, the government strategy for developing the banking industry grants green credit and allow the issuance of green bonds for investment projects offering environmental benefits. Vietnam government is taking steps to assist the study and development of renewable energy technology. Additionally, 10% incentive tax will be imposed for 15 years to the renewable energy companies that qualified for the high technologies. The landscape of the country's renewable energy sources and Vietnam's economic development may be significantly impacted by this project. We'll now talk about the key challenges. And last year, the National Assembly's Oversight Delegation on the implementation of policies and laws on planning point out that the progress of planning for the 2021-2030 period is very slow. 104 out of 111 plans are late. These delays affect socio-economic development in the energy sector. Many projects are on hold at the moment. Investors will not wait forever, of course, and there is a risk of missing the policy goals, for example, in the offshore wind technology industry. Main challenges in Vietnam now are the desire, of course, for post-COVID recovery has led to the rapid boom in renewable energies, which are putting pressure on the electricity grid. There is also the lack of capital and funding. The human resources also need to be built and trained. The low tariffs, coupled with the high investment cost in newer technology, represent also big challenges. The delay in larger projects due to the complex regulatory framework, and at the end, the local supply chain development and adaptation of infrastructure. So many challenges. The carbon neutrality goal, as I mentioned, adopted at the COP26, requires a change of mindset in Vietnam from a diversity of factors, which will take years. It is a radical reorientation of the country's socio-economic development. The successive small hydro, solar, and wind energy booms demonstrate that Vietnam's energy landscape is capable of dynamic change. Carbon neutral factories, industrial zones, and waste-to-energy incinerators are appearing these years. The renewable energy market is not going to stop here because, for example, between 2020 and 2030, the market for solar power will grow by 13%. Meanwhile, the market for wind power will soar by 35% annually. In this journey of exploring Vietnam and South Asia potential, you do not have to navigate alone. This is why our company, Source of Asia, with more than 20 years of experience in Vietnam and Southeast Asian countries, our team of experts possesses in-depth knowledge across multiple sectors as energy, enabling us to provide comprehensive support tailored to your specific needs. Vietnam's drive towards renewable energy underscores its commitment to sustainable development. With favorable government policies, abundant renewable resources, and a growing energy demand, Vietnam is poised for significant progress in the renewable energy sector. However, as discussed, challenges such as financing, grid integration, and regulatory processes need to be addressed. By overcoming these hurdles, Vietnam can unlock the full potential of renewable energy and achieve its goals of economic growth, energy security, and environmental protection. You can contact us, of course, and discover how we can help your business expand abroad and take advantage of the opportunities in South Asia and Vietnam. We look forward to receiving some questions for you, and I wish you a good day.